Simplified Chaos, episode 132.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey, this is Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my co-host and beardly husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Hope you all are having an amazing week. We have got another great episode for you as always. Jilly, what are we diving into?
Today's topic is all about why moving was such a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's move.
Let's get into that moving mindset. But before we dive into that, as always, we'd love to show a little gratitude. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
Today I'm grateful for just the practice of reading and writing. I feel like in life, there's going to be ups and downs. There might be quote unquote setbacks or things that happen where, may be difficult to process in life. And I'm grateful for the practice that I've kind of cultivated in just reading uplifting books and just the art of just writing how I feel. I think it's helped me process when times get tough. So I'm just grateful for those small, tiny practices that I used to not do until we started slowing down our life, and I intentionally carved out time to read, not every night, but most nights, just things to prime my mindset with all the goods, and just started getting into writing more just of how I feel and just expressing myself and reading uplifting and having uplifting tools at my fingertips, and books have been so helpful with just dealing with when, life maybe hands you things you don't want to be handed, but you're like, it's a learning experience. I'm going to process it. I'm going to sit in it and then let it go and move on my way. It's just been really helpful for this time. So
yeah, you've really gotten really far into reading and writing into that practice, and I can tell that it's definitely helping, with you and things that are on your mind. So that's awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm grateful for you, babe.
For me?
Yeah. I asked you to do a big favor today, and
that BJ sure was long.
Well,
just kidding.
Maybe after this episode, we'll see. But anyways, no. So one of the great pleasures of moving to Virginia is having to register your car and title your car and get a driver's license. And we've kind of been putting that off. Your car, your registration for Maryland is about to expire. So that's kind of what's getting us in gear. And mine's going to expire next month. But one of the other things in the great state of Virginia that you have to do, which I found out is a yearly thing, is get your vehicle inspected. And then they put a sticker on the front of your vehicle saying that it got inspected.
You did good, Colin.
Yeah. So I've had a fog light that was hit by a rock for quite some time. Fog lights, not really a necessity to drive at all. But I just have not felt the need to replace that. But unfortunately, in the great state of Virginia, the Commonwealth, they will not give you one of these stickers for your front window if you have things wrong with your car, such as a broken fog light. So I looked up putting a fog light on a Honda CR-V, and it is quite a task that I am not willing to take on at this point in my life.
Would you have done it in your 20s?
No, I probably would never do this. And that's just me. I am not a car person. They get you from A to B, and I'm grateful for that. I really, again, if I didn't have to get the fog light replaced, I probably would never do it. But I'm grateful for you because I called the dealership this morning to get the fog light, and they were like, well, bring it down here just so that we can, see what we really need to order. Could it be, something that we just need to get a lens or whatever? It turns out we need to replace the whole fog light, which is what I thought in the first place. But Jilly, you were nice enough to drive a half an hour to take the CRV up to the dealership and make sure that it's the right part, and that part should be in relatively soon. I should be able to get my inspection and to be able to legally drive here in Virginia without fear of getting ticketed because I don't have a sticker on my front windshield.
I
Yes.
know. Rob was a very nice serviceman.
Oh,
and
everybody around here has been super friendly. Like,
it's sickening sweet how nice everyone is
Yeah.
here. So I mean, I try not to complain, but it's really hard to complain with everyone you meet here. It's like they're so damn sweet.
they are, and I'm doing this gratitude and jest. Like, this is really isn't a big deal, and it is what it is. Because we are going to talk about moving and how great this has been. So I just, I thought it'd be funny to start the episode off with something that you'd be like, okay, they're talking about how great moving is, and yet he's complaining about putting a sticker on his front windshield. But nah, if that's the worst thing that we have to experience, then this is fine with me.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're funny.
I
Good humor,
try.
Nick.
Yeah.
Not the ice cream company, but good humor.
Thank you.
You're probably Jill. No, don't.
This is a good transition point.
Yes, it is. Oh man, yeah. So Nick and I were discussing like, what should we chat about this week? Because big news. We're celebrating our 7th anniversary this year.
Wedding anniversary.
Yes, it'll be 10 years dating, which
10
is
years dating, which I'm still not your longest relationship.
cheesy. Yes, I know. But so we were debating if
Jill's very committed.
part of me was like, are we going to put out an episode? And he was like, yeah, we're going to put out an episode because we are leaving Wednesday to drive back home to Maryland, or back home to my mom's house in Maryland.
Yeah, this is home. We're going back to Maryland,
it's still
which
weird.
used to be home.
I know. So my mother is graciously watching Lucille for 4 days ish, and Nick and I are flying to Boulder, Colorado to explore
Boulder.
another college mountain town that sounds very synonymous to this Charlottesville area, which I'm pretty stoked about. And yeah, we're really excited. But I was like, Nick, what do you want to chat about this week? And I don't think we've really done kind of like a reflection on just the process of just moving to a new place, like as a family. Like, it's been officially 3 months-ish.
It's been, well, for you, it's been 3 months, almost to the day, just a couple of days ago. For me, it's been a little bit more than 3 months, but I think that's ample time for us to kind of reflect on things. And I think today we really wanted to talk about, I think one of the biggest challenges for folks when they're thinking about making a change in life is the what ifs and just, all that self-doubt and am I making the right decision? And that's justified. I mean, it's a big life change. I do the same shit over a pair of socks. If I'm going to buy a pair of socks, is this the right decision? Are my feet actually going to be comfortable, or is it worth spending this amount of money on the socks? Are they going to last a long time? Or am I just going to put a hole in them? Like, I mean, it's the things that go with our, but obviously moving your family, moving away from, the place that you grew up in is a big decision. And reflecting on that decision, like kind of looking back on it, I'm here to tell you that it's not as bad as what it seems like, especially when I think the hardest part that people have is like really understanding if the place that you're moving to aligns to your values. And I think that's like the biggest takeaway that I've had from this move is that you and I have had discussions, and I think this podcast has a lot to do with it, but it's more so like us living intentionally, simplified living, whatever you want to call it. We've really been able to understand what we value, and it made it easier for us to find an area that aligned with our values, which is why I think this move has been so seamless for us. So, we wanted to talk a little bit today about like some of those things that you might be doubting, if you are thinking about moving to a new area, and just how we kind of dealt with it, and maybe offer some advice, maybe some motivation for you to make a big life change, because hey, right now We're going through some crazy changes in this world, and this is the perfect opportunity to try something different.
So true. And I know when Nick and I were kind of talking about discussing this topic, he was saying that I think there's some myths out there about moving, that it's really hard and you're going to miss your friends and it's going to be difficult to make friends. And I think that brings up a good topic of discussion, because I feel like we've kind of reflected on all of those things. And number one, like it being difficult to leave your friends. Of course, it's going to be hard to leave your friends, but it's been surprisingly easy to make new connections. And I think it also depends on where you're moving to as well. I know one of the things that drew us to this area, besides the mountains, the small town atmosphere, the good food and coffee shops and all that fun stuff, was that people here were genuinely so freaking nice, want to help you out with, no reason other than like, I want to be a good person. And automatically that was just like, it drew us like, it seems like a really awesome place. And we haven't had much difficulty in making connections. And I think it also helps that Nick and I are pretty confident in who we are today, because we have a lot of discussions about what we value, what we believe in, and just being open-minded. I think we know what to stand up for and who we are as human beings. So we show that really fast, or just we're authentically like that person when we meet people. So it's like, you know right away if people are drawn to you or they're not drawn to you. So I think it makes it easier to make connections and not make connections. And I think the podcast kind of helps too. And Instagram definitely does. But I think surprisingly, like I had a lot of doubt, just like what the community was going to be like. Am I going to make girlfriends here? Am I going to have girls' night out? Like, what is that going to look like here? And I don't know. I also made it a goal. It wasn't just something that I'm like, oh, it'll just happen. I made intention, and I even put it on my planner. Like, I want to find a babysitter. Like I had to like make connections in order to make that happen.
Right.
I want to meet other like-minded individuals and have, experiences with other people other than my husband, because I value.
Yeah, I'm pretty lame.
No, but like I value my relationship with Nick, but I also value my relationship with other people that I can hang out with and express myself differently in a different capacity. And people out there, I think they understand like girls' nights are just different than like date nights in a different way. So I value those friendships as well. And it's been really awesome using platforms. I feel like we're just so grateful to live in a time where it's easy to find connections, Facebook groups, Instagram. I feel like it's so easy to put yourself out there and reach out and say, hey, do you want to meet up somewhere? Do you want to have a play date? And I don't know, I don't feel like you have to be that kind of an extrovert. I don't consider myself an extrovert, but I consider myself driven enough that I want to make connections, that I'm just going to put myself out there. And if someone rejects me, it's like, oh, they're just not for me. Like, it's okay.
Right.
There's other people out there. So I'm just here to say that making connections and making friends as an adult is so wonderful. It's so, so wonderful. And for me, I'm not about quantity of friends. I'm all about quality. So I'm all about taking my time. Like, this has been 3 months since I've been here. I feel like I've made maybe a handful of really great quality friends, and I'm very grateful for those friendships. And I mean, I know Nick's perspective is different because I'm able to have more time to go out to parks, and I am with Lucille most of the days, but I feel like I'm kind of helping bridge that gap with Nick by meeting people and then like, hey, let's meet up with them and meet up with their husbands. And we had an amazing weekend with some new friends. And I don't know if you want to speak on this matter about making friends as an adult, moving to a new place, and just the whole, I don't know, seeing our friends in a whole. I think you have more to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things about moving to Charlottesville is that, we're only 3 hours away from home, and it's not like we're trying to replace our friends with new friends. It's like, we certainly have some great relationships back home, and I still keep in touch with my, good friends on a daily basis. Obviously with football season, there's a lot to text back and forth, amongst that group of friends. And, I've taken trips to Philly and we've found ways to catch up with the people back home. But yeah, for moving here and making friends, like you said, it's a little bit easier for you, just for the fact that you have more time to do that, during the day. And obviously you're with Lucille and you're seeking out other parents who, have kids Lucille's age, which, that seems to be who we're kind of, aligning with. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's like right now it's more about, making connections with the folks that you've been making connections with, and that's fine. Like, the people that you're meeting are great, and it's been really awesome to meet their significant others and get to know them a little bit better. What was awesome about the couple that we hung out with this past weekend is, they're recently had just moved to Charlottesville themselves. They've been traveling all over the country, really trying to find a place to land, and they kind of share the same belief about Charlottesville as we do, is that, hey, we found our spot, that we're going to be here for a while. So it's nice to make friends with a family that's kind of going through the same thing as us, and the same kind of settling down and getting to know the area, which is awesome. My biggest thing is, I next year I definitely want to start stalking the softball fields and finding a team to potentially land on, and a group of guys that I can see myself hanging out with. And then, there obviously will be other opportunities to make friends down here, but it's a nice spot that we're in, because we are still very close to home, and that we are also, able to meet some new people who are like-minded down our way. Yeah, obviously if we would have moved to Oregon 4 years ago, we wouldn't have that connection with our friends back home. Yeah, we would probably still text to them and call them and talk to them, but it wouldn't be the same as being able to drive a couple hours and see them, pretty much whenever we want, which has just been really great about the situation. So yeah, moving away, we moved 3 hours away, but the drive doesn't, it doesn't seem like anything. It's actually become pretty routine at this point, since we've been, back and forth between Maryland and Virginia so much.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I feel like when you move to a new place, it kind of gives you permission that, hey, you can make an effort to go out of your comfort zone and make new friends. I feel like when you are in the same place that you grew up and you're in an area for a long time, you feel so comfortable with the friends you already have. You don't really go out of your way to make eye contact with strangers or other people. But I feel like in Charlottesville, like when I first moved here and I'm taking Lucille, like I'm paying attention to Lucille at the park, but I'm also like consciously aware of like other people. And if I happen to make eye contact with the mom, it's just like, hey, how's it going? Like you start a conversation. Sure. And I'm grateful for the experience of just pushing me out of my comfort zone to make more eye contact and to start conversations with probably I normally wouldn't do in Maryland. It's just like, oh, we're here at the park. I'll just pay attention to Lucille. And if someone comes to me, I'll chat, but I'm not going to like, I don't know. I'm not consciously aware of like, hey, I really want to connect with someone. So it's nice to have that little push of like, it would be really great to make a connection here. And if it doesn't work, it's cool. But I'm like literally putting myself out there in a way too. Like I feel like I'm on a dating app when I go to a park, like waiting for someone to say something. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like just to start small chat. It's so strange, but it's so true. Like that's the life I'm living right now. But it's really cool when you move to have that push or emphasis to like try something new, start conversations, do things you normally wouldn't do if you were in your hometown and going through the normal, I wouldn't say autopilot, but some of the usual things you normally do. So I am grateful for that push to just, push my boundaries and my personality to just experience new and try different things.
Yeah. And, making friends is, you never know how it's going to happen. I mean, it can just be a simple comment. We were walking on a trail yesterday, and I noticed a gentleman wearing a Maryland Terrapins hat. And just as we were walking by him, I said, hey, go Terps. And he's like, hey, you follow Maryland? I was like, yeah, we're from Maryland. He's like, oh, yeah, we're from Maryland, too. We just moved. And so it's just funny how just like a simple thing can start a conversation. And, if that conversation continues to happen, obviously, we with these people, we were just kind of in passing. And so, if we would have had more time to actually talk, who knows, they could have become friends or something like that. But like, it's very easy to just kind of start a conversation just based on observations of, what other people are wearing. And, obviously we're in a state that, does not like the Maryland Terrapins and, probably could care less about the Baltimore Ravens and stuff like, and the Orioles. But, people ask about those kinds of things, and when you see that people are wearing similar things, you're like, oh, hey, are you from Baltimore? No, but I follow them. Or yeah, hey, we moved down here 5 years ago. You never know where that can lead to. It could lead to a beautiful friendship. But that's been such a nice thing down here is meeting new folks, and like Jill said, everybody is just super friendly.
And then something else that I'm grateful for the move is that I feel like moving here has definitely gave me a mindset reset, if that makes any sense. So, like I said before, when you're in your hometown, I feel like I wouldn't say you keep your head down, but it's kind of like you go through the motions. You're used to all the things, you do them, and it's like semi autopilot. But for here, it's like you're primed to be more aware of your surroundings, more
Yeah.
conscious, and just dive into more unknown, which can be scary as hell. But I've realized that the more experiences that are unknown but exciting at the same time help me grow so much more and lead to so many more opportunities than I would have if I would have just stayed where I was comfortable. And I love where we are from, but I'm grateful for the new and the experience of, like I said, I'm that type of person where I need a push. I need an external force from the universe to like push me to do things that are out of my comfort zone. And moving here has, especially in an exciting place that, we chose to come to. It's like,
Right.
We chose all of the surroundings, like the nature scene, the parks, the food, the wineries, the breweries. So this atmosphere creates so much positive energy in me already that it's like I think it just adds to the experience of like the confidence and like just that I can fucking do anything. Like,
Right.
Bring it on, because I'm just so happy being in this environment that I feel like I can handle anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely, it challenges you to basically like try to find yourself, and we have, like, again, at the beginning I said, we know what we value. We came down here a couple of times, and everything seemed like it aligned with our values. We got to talk with some people before we came down here, but like just being down here for a few months just has reconfirmed that we stayed true to ourselves, and that this was the right decision for our family to make. And, we're just really excited about, moving forward and continuing this momentum, and continuing to grow as individuals, as a couple, and as a family. Like, just seeing like Lucille, like, flourish in new surroundings, and just like become so familiar with this area already, and just like passing certain places and like, hey, that's where we met so and so. It's just like, holy crap, like this is a brand new area. But you forget, like, everything is new to them, like, because it's new to us, but like they're taking it in just as much as we are. So like it's just been really cool to see her grow and flourish in this environment, and play with new kids and meet new friends, and then obviously play more with the friends that we're starting to make. Like, it was just awesome to see her and our our new friends' kids, just getting along, running around, having fun, scaling walls, and Lucille getting her first bee sting, and that was interesting. But she was a champ. The one thing that we learned is that she's not allergic to bee stings. So knock on wood, that's one less thing that we have to worry about. But other than that, I mean, yeah, this has been a great 3 months. I would say to anybody who's like doubting themselves, or who just really are kind of like thinking about all the negative things that can happen about moving, like, you got to kind of open your mind up, and just start thinking about, okay, there are going to be some negative aspects to it, but think of all the positive things that can come out of it. And part of the adventure is the unknown, and it really kind of makes it a fun ride. And I think Jill and I will later on in life look back and saying this was a great decision. And maybe if we would have stayed in Maryland, we would have looked back in life and said, man, maybe we should have tried out Charlottesville, or maybe we should have tried out Bend. And now we've actually, we got the courage to do this, and we were both aligned, and we did it. And we're very happy that we did.
Yeah, and something you said about just the way Lucille sees this place, that's another great benefit of moving to a new place as an adult is that I feel like we're all kids again
Yeah.
because we're all seeing a place in the same fresh eyes like kids are. Like everything's so new and exciting, and that's the great thing is that I feel like we get the opportunity to be a kid again, experiencing all this new and the word flourish, like it's just such a great word when I think of it. Like I feel like I'm able to flourish as an individual and reinvent myself because it's like I'm starting fresh at a new place. So it's like all of the old habits or the past things that have happened to me, I can just move on from them and say, hey, I've never done painting before. Why the hell can't I try it now? Hey, I've never tried editing photos before. Someone wants me to try and do like I feel like anything is so possible just like when you're a kid and everything seems so exciting and you're so curious, and I feel like I have 100% full permission to just dive into the unknown of everything like a kid does, which is to me was the most exciting part about being a kid is that I mean, yes, there's responsibilities on the side as an adult, but
Sure.
when you're a kid, it's like the world is your fucking oyster. And you know, we say that as adults, but really when you have that kid mindset, it's like you really believe it. Like there's so much hope and wonder in the world and curiosity that I feel like I get to experience that all over again as an adult, which I'm cherishing so much. Like it's such a miraculous thing to experience like after you know so many things and kind of try and relearn some things and unlearn some other things that you
Yeah.
may have had in the past. So it's really great to kind of reinvent yourself and just know that it's never too late and you can always try something new no matter what your age is. And it's such an exciting thing to live out and to experience.
Absolutely. Any other revelations there, Julie?
I mean, also, let's just say if you're a traveling fan and you move to a new place, I feel like your local travel experiences change automatically. Like your go to getaways or places that were 2 or 3 hours automatically change, which has been really cool exploring new states, new cities,
Yeah.
and
Easier access to
it's
places that we've really
convenient.
liked. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit more convenient now. So it's kind of cool when you relocate to just understand that your radius of travel is a little different, which is really fun to experience. And, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say sometimes you get in a rut, but you kind of do the same things over and over again, go to the same places because it's convenient, it's not too far. So it makes that convenience still there, but just different, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's a great point. Like we've already been to Asheville and Charlotte, and you know we have some friends in Greensboro that we still have to go visit, and then we went to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg a little bit earlier, and it's just the proximity has made those trips a lot easier, especially with a toddler who likes to ask, "Are we there yet?" or "Where are we going?" 50 million times in a matter of 20 minutes. But no, I mean, all joking aside, like yeah, like that's been part of the added benefit is being able to expand our radius to a different area and be able to explore a lot of new places around here.
Excuse me, I burped. There was one more thing I wanted to say that I know we kind of chatted about before we got on. Is just that we do have a local library in our little small town, and it's such a sweet gem. And I was telling Nick, and it's like we were talking about the libraries we went to in our childhood, and the library I went to was really cool when I was a kid, but I guess because I grew up and I learned more about that area, it just had this kind of negative vibe, like just from its stereotypes, and we're just biased. Like when you grow up in an area, you hear all this information about a certain area and you're like, oh, that's not really a cool area, like you shouldn't go there. So coming here and going to our local library, it's like immediately you start with a clean slate in background knowledge, which can be a good and a bad thing. But it's for us, to me, it's like a really great thing because we get to relearn an area and kind of create our own experience and form our own biases about it. So it is nice to kind of start fresh as far as like experiences for our kids, because you may have experiences when your kids in your area you grew up in and be like, oh, that completely went downhill or that changed. So it is nice to start fresh with her experiences as a kid, just because we don't know anything about it either. So we're all entering the experience together on the same page versus like we have all of these, I don't know, previous experiences there, and like, I don't know, hearing other people's perspectives and opinions building up in our head about certain things.
Yeah. I learned a lot about liberty at your library that you grew up in.
Liberty.
Yeah. Used to have some meetings there.
We did?
I did. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Every other Wednesday or every Wednesday or something like that.
Libertarian meetings?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Ron Paul movement.
Oh, snap.
Oh yeah. No, it was cool. But yeah, no, the library I grew up, like the library we went to was brand new when it opened, and then like it was kind of in a bad area, but not really at the time, but it's gotten pretty bad. But like, you know, just being able to there's only one library in our county now. Like, you know, in our old county there was probably a dozen, if not more. But the library in our county is pretty cool. Like it's right next to this humongous park. So like, you know, you can go read books and then you can go and hike and adventure and stuff like that. So it's just really cool to see where Lucille's going to be able to, you know, go and get books and then experience nature.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, Jilly, do you have any resources for our listeners today?
I do.
Oh, she came prepared.
I did. So I found this blog post that was on motivationgrid.com, and the title was Reasons Why Moving is Good for the Mind, Body, and Soul. The recent headlines are they cracked me up. So the first one says, please kindly go away, I'm introverting. And it basically talks about like, I wouldn't say how the place you grew up could be boring, but like if you do the same thing over and over again, it becomes like autopilot. So it's not as exciting and you kind of just introvert instead of like putting yourself out there.
It's like Groundhog's Day.
Kind of. So it said, without trying to sound a little cheesy, the move is all about inspiration and discovery of you. Moving allows you to resign into a time of solitude to get your mind and body in the right state. You're able to feed your passions, and passion is what feeds the soul. So once you stop melting into a puddle of anxiety after the big move, you're able to focus on personal growth, which will make you stronger. Yeah. The second reason they titled Hakuna Matata. They said sometimes it's hard to maintain a bad mood toward moving when you overwhelm your mind with thoughts of gratitude. Remember, the beauty of moving is in its new beginnings. Maybe it's time to take the dive and actually make that international move you've been dreaming about for a lifetime. Taking the time to celebrate these thoughts of thankfulness, big or small, makes you happier and healthier. This boosts positive emotions, energy, and optimism. And moving also allows you to detach yourself from the past. Moving forces you to make the decision to move forward with your life. Once you've entered a judge-free zone where you can let go of any mistakes or regrets. Many people struggle to know where to begin with this, but when you move, you're forced to face it, which I thought was
100%.
So aligned, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And the last one, number 3, life rewards the brave. When you're just getting started in your career, it seems as though the dream is unattainable. And it references The Office. When you're dreaming of something bigger, Jenna Fisher, Pam from The Office, came from humble beginnings. She made the trek from her hometown to Los Angeles, where it eventually paid off. But it just talks about like the unknown is so worth it. And it seems so scary at first, like, but on the other side, it's just like so much opportunity and growth and experience that, it's just pretty fucking rad. And
it really is.
I don't know what else how to put words to it right now. We're experiencing a lot of opportunities, and you know, where it leads, I don't know, but it's fun just experiencing it and just diving into, I mean, anything and everything that sounds exciting that we're like, why not? Why not? Like, we have time, we have the energy, we have the finances. So let's do it. And which is why we did it to begin with. So,
hell yeah. The nice thing is, like 3 months in, it still feels like we're on vacation. And I think it's going to still continue to feel like that for quite some time. So that's been one of the nice things about this.
Yeah. And will be fun to report back like after like a year, like what we're noticing, what we're feeling, if it's still...
Stick with us until next June.
Yes, please do. So if any of you have been thinking about a big move or a big life change, we are just your cheerleaders and your motivators that it's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
That's right.
And it seems scary, but it's so good.
Yeah. You have a quote of the day there, Jilly?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
This
Go
quote
for it.
is anonymous.
All right.
The quickest way to...
Hip-hop anonymous.
The quickest way to acquire self-confidence is to do exactly what you're afraid to do.
100%.
This move was frightening, folks.
Yeah.
frightening for me. But damn, do I feel more in the know of who I am as a person, what I want in life, and where I want to be.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And your take action challenge is go for it. Just like Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh did last night in the Ravens win over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, man.
Go for it.
Go for it. Whatever big change or big move in life, it could be distance or new career or new anything. Go for it if it feels right.
Hell yeah. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you like this episode, please, please, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they're calling it these days. Or you can simply share this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action. And action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today. And we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.